Have you ever wondered why some, merely 20, carry an ocean of ancient melancholy in their eyes, and others, though their hair is dusted with frost, still smile with the pristine clarity of a child untouched by the world? Chronological age is just a cold statistic of the physical realm, but the age of the soul, that is a secret buried in the deep sediments of the unconscious. It is measured by the scars you bear, by the dreams you have shattered, and by how you rise, again and again, after the internal storms. Carl Jung, the great mapmaker of the psyche, once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Today we will perform a small ritual to awaken that slumbering part of you. There is no right or wrong, no judgment, only you and the naked truth of who you are. Before you stand 4 hourglasses, not mere instruments of time, but mirrors reflecting how your spirit perceives existence. Inhale deeply. Exhale all prejudice, all logic, all analysis. Look with your intuition. Which one calls your name? Which one makes your chest ache with a strange familiarity, as if you owned it in a past life? Have you chosen? Do not waver. Hold on to that first sensation. Before we descend deeper into this abyss, if you feel a resonance or find solace in these journeys of the psyche, please take a moment to like and subscribe, for these symbolic tests are not mere games. They are designed to help you understand yourself in ways that logic alone can never reach. Think of subscribing as a promise, a vow that ensures we won't lose each other on the next voyage of self-discovery. And now, let me tell you the story of your soul. If your gaze is anchored to the first one, the wooden hourglass, your soul bears the archetype of the Reclusive Sage. You possess an old soul, perhaps far older than the vessel you inhabit. While the world outside spins in a frantic dance of vanity, of fleeting trends, of loud, sleepless nights, you find your ecstasy in stillness. You are like an ancient oak standing apart from the forest, roots digging deep into the earth to drink from the primordial springs of wisdom and contemplation. For you, joy is not found in the strobe lights. Joy is the scent of old parchment, the rhythm of rain tapping on the porch, a melody without words echoing in the dead of night, or simply the solitude of a locked room, tea steaming, watching time slip through the crack of the door. That is your sanctuary. This choice reveals you value the core, the eternal. You are not blinded by the glitter of the persona. You have eyes that pierce through the facade. In relationships, you seek depth, not breadth. You would rather have one soulmate to sit with in comfortable silence than be surrounded by 100 social acquaintances, clinking glasses in hollow merriment. You cherish the collision of souls, not the friction of skin or polite conversation. But, my friend, let me ask you something. Honest, something that might startle you. Is your silence a choice of peace, or is it a fortress you built to hide from the world? Jung warned that solitude is a double-edged sword. It is a cure for those who have found inner order, but a poison for those running from themselves. For then, you are not alone. You are locked in a room with the ghosts of your past. Your calm, detached exterior is often an armor so perfect, even you believe it is real. You play the observer, the one on the sidelines, not because you don't crave the warmth of humanity, but because you are afraid. You fear that if you step out of that shell, this noisy, cruel world will tear your sensitivity to shreds. Do you often feel alienated, out of sync, even among kin? You see the hidden motives, the subtle hypocrisies, the sadness masked by smiles. You see too clearly, and this clairvoyance exhausts you. You retreat not because you hate people, but because their emotional chaos overloads your delicate nervous system. You carry the world's grief like a silent mission, acting as a dumping ground for others venting, forgetting to unload the weight so your own shoulders can rest. rewind to your childhood. Were you the child who understood too much? Perhaps you grew up where expressing emotion was seen as weak, troublesome, or unnecessary. Or perhaps you had to parent your own parents. You learned a bitter lesson. The safest way to survive is to shrink, to observe, not participate, to analyze, not feel, to control so no one can hurt you. And so the child grew, carrying an ancient soul in the body of a lonely adult. O wise and compassionate spirit, you do not need to be the lighthouse forever. Even lighthouses need maintenance. Even they must go dark to rest from the storms. Isolation gives you safety, but it robs you of the deep connection your soul starves for. Do not let your wisdom become a prison. Allow yourself to take off the mask of maturity just once. Allow yourself to be a child, to cry, to laugh, to speak nonsense. Let someone enter your sanctuary and care for you, just as you have silently cared for the world. You are worthy of love not because you are wise, but simply because you exist. And if your eyes were bewitched by the second one, the crystal hourglass, within you dwells the archetype of the puer aeternus, the eternal child. Regardless of the number on your I, D, 20, 30, or 50, your spirit stubbornly refuses to age in the gray, dull manner of adults. You are the embodiment of light, of joy, of vivid color. You bring laughter to the crowd. You are the soul of the party. You are the one who spots the rainbow while the storm still rages. To you, life is a giant playground. Every day is a chance to uncover magic. You possess a boundless imagination and a heart full of romantic tremors. You despise boredom. You detest rigid rules. You loathe repetitive schedules. You always seek to add spice, a splash of paint to this reality that is often too monochromatic. Your presence is like cool water in a dry desert. But, you know, the clearer the glass, the more visible the scratch. To sparkle does not mean you are not fragile. Behind that permanent radiant smile lies a secret few perceive. Ask yourself this brutal necessary question. Is your optimism your true nature? Or is it a velvet curtain you use to hide your terror and deny reality? You are afraid of silence, afraid of conversations that are too heavy, too serious, too tragic. You try to fill the void with noise, with jokes, with movement. Why? Because if you stop, even for a second, you fear you will have to face the gaping hole inside your chest. You are like Peter Pan, flying endlessly over Neverland to avoid touching the ground. Because touching the ground means facing responsibility, commitment, the mundane chains, and most terrifying of all, facing the truth that life is not always a fairy tale. You fear disappointment. A small criticism, a cold glance, a gentle rejection, can shatter the crystal vase of your soul. Perhaps in the past, your inner child learned the wrong lesson about love. Maybe you were only praised, noticed, or loved when you were good, when you smiled, when you performed, when you pleased the adults. You learned that shadow emotions, sadness, anger, frustration, were ugly, unacceptable. You believe that if you cease to sparkle, if you are not fun, no one will want to stay. The fear of abandonment, of becoming invisible, drives you to burn brightly without rest, like a candle terrified of the encroaching dark. But oh, radiant soul, I want to hold that child inside you and say, you do not need to be positive to be loved. You do not need to smile to prove your worth. Storm clouds are part of the sky, just as sorrow is a vital part of your humanity. True maturity is not losing your innocence. It is learning to embrace the ugly, thorny, weak parts of yourself. Give yourself permission to be sad, to crack, to collapse and say, I am not okay today. You will be surprised. Those who truly love you will not leave when the sun sets. They will not run when the rain comes. They will stay to share your umbrella, to keep you warm. Your value lies in your unique existence, not in the joyful performance you exhaust yourself giving to the world. Lower your wings and rest, little angel. Now, if your intuition led you to the third, the rusty iron hourglass, you are the embodiment of the wounded warrior. At first glance, this hourglass holds no allure. It is rough, heavy, archaic. But that rust is not ugliness. It is a medal of survival. You are one who has walked through fire, who has tasted the bitterness of life that others cannot even imagine. You are strong. Not the strength built in a gym, but strength forged in the furnace of trauma and resilience. You have a phenomenal endurance. People flock to you when they are in trouble, when they need advice, when they need a rock, because they know you are immovable in the chaos. You are good at solving problems, good at taking pressure, and best at suffering alone in silence. But, warrior, look at the iron armor you wear. Is it protecting you, or is it imprisoning you? The question is, are you strong because you want to be, or because you had no other choice? Do you feel an intense discomfort, even shame, when you have to ask for help? You view assistance as a debt and vulnerability as an unacceptable failure. You would rather grit your teeth until you break, let the pain gnaw at your marrow, than shed a single tear in front of another. You tend to romanticize your pain. You believe you were born to suffer, to sacrifice, to carry the burden for others. But deep down, this is a form of self-sabotage. You fear peace. To you, peace is alien. It feels like boredom. Or worse, the calm before a bigger storm. You feel safer in a state of war. It is very likely you were a child forced to ripen too soon. A child with no childhood. Perhaps you had to carry the weight of your parents, your siblings, or fend for yourself in a loveless vacuum. In your world back then, there was no room for whining, no room for childish needs. You learned a harsh lesson. If I don't do it, no one will. If I don't protect myself, no one will. The rust on the hourglass is the fortress wall you built, brick by brick, year by year, to ensure no one could enter and hurt your scarred heart again. But listen to me. The wall that keeps out pain also keeps out joy and love. You are not your wounds. You do not need to suffer to be valuable. You do not need to bleed to be worthy of love. It is time to lower your weapons. The war ended long ago. Only you are still standing guard in your mind, watching for enemies that are no longer there. True strength is not in never falling. It is having the courage to admit, I am hurting, I am tired, and I need help. Allow yourself to be weak. Allow someone to bandage your wounds. Let the rust flake away, revealing the shiny, warm metal beneath. You deserve happiness. A soft, simple happiness. One that does not require payment in blood and tears. And finally, if you chose the fourth, the surreal hourglass with reverse sand, you are the rebel, or rather, the stranger from another dimension. You have always felt different, misplaced, as if you were dropped onto this planet and lost the user manual. Social norms that others worship. School, career, marriage, kids, house, car. To you, they feel like a straitjacket. You cannot breathe in that mold. You possess a sharp critical mind and a strangely powerful spiritual intuition. You ask the whys that no one dares to ask. You are drawn to the mysterious, the cosmic, the things that lie beyond the logic of daily bread. You see connections others miss, but difference is a razor-sharp blade. Ask your heart honestly. Do you choose difference because it is your truth, or because you fear rejection? So, you rejected the world first. The feeling of not belonging is your deepest, most persistent wound. You often feel lonely, even in a crowd, even beside your loved ones. No one truly speaks your language. No one sees the world through your prism. So, you built a rich, fantastic inner world. You retreat into it, get stuck in it, sometimes losing contact with reality entirely, your rebellion, your eccentricity, your arrogance. Sometimes they are just a silent scream of despair. See me, understand me, even if I am not like you. But at the same time, to protect that fragile ego, you developed a subtle arrogance. You look down on normality. You dismiss the herd. You think them boring and shallow. This is a defense mechanism to soothe the sting of isolation. You tell yourself you are lonely because you are special, not because you were abandoned. Perhaps you were the black sheep of the family. Compared to someone else's child, labeled a dreamer, a problem. You never felt fully accepted for who you are. So you learned to turn your weirdness into a weapon, into pride, into a shield to cover a heart that desperately longs to belong. But stranger, your difference is not a curse. It is a sacred gift from the universe. The world needs those who dare to watch time flow backward, to break old paradigms, to create breakthroughs. However, remember this: your feet must touch the ground for your wings to fly high. Do not let your uniqueness isolate you from love. Connecting with humans, integrating with life, does not mean you lose yourself or become mediocre. Seek out your tribe. They are out there, also lost, also hiding in their shells, looking for you. Do not lock your heart with the pride of an alien. Open it with the curiosity of an explorer. You will see, this earth still has much beauty for you to love and hold. Whether you chose wood, crystal, iron, or the surreal, your soul is telling a beautiful story. A story of survival, of pain, of courage, and of hope. You see, this test is not to label who you are. It is not to judge you as good or bad, old or young. It is a key to unlock the basement of your unconscious, where you hide your weakest parts, your deepest secrets, but also your most human parts. We spend our lives running from our own shadows, denying our wounds. But Carl Jung taught us, only when we dare to look directly into the darkness do we find the true light. Do not rush to fix yourself. Do not force yourself to be whole immediately. Sometimes the only and bravest thing to do is to see and to accept. Accept the weary age and the craving for peace in the wood. Accept the fear of shattering and the hunger for love in the glass. Accept the rusty scars and the painful resilience of the iron. And accept the alienation and the thirst for freedom in the reverse flow. When you dare to face your own darkness, not with hatred, but with compassion, and smile at it, that is when the sand in your hourglass begins to flow to a new rhythm. Not the rhythm of fear, but the rhythm of serenity and healing. Thank you for being brave enough to walk with me on this short journey, touching the hidden corners of the psyche. If these words struck a chord in your heart, hold that feeling as a gift. Leave an hourglass symbol below and share your story. I am here, not to judge, but to listen and to witness. Sleep well, and may your life be filled with peace.